Hey, welcome to another edition. Hey, to another edition of Real Talk with K and J, aka Cat and Dog. Glad you come on in, sit a spell, hang out with us as we do some real talk today. Once again, I'm Jay.
Okay.
So the topic for the day, we're gonna get on into this. The topic for the day is Keysha and them. So we're in here talking about relationships. We're talking about things that we need to do. Hang out with us. Turn that thing down. And what what we're doing and how we're doing it. MJ, what's going on, brother? So as we start to delve a little deeper and get some bigger topics and go into depth a little bit more, one of the things we wanted to talk about was the circle that you surround yourself with. The circle that you surround yourself with, aka Keysha and nem. Sometimes, ladies, and don't worry, there's a Ricky and Bobby running Mike for men as well. Sometimes you surround yourself with individuals that are not like-minded and are not trying to move you or help you or enable you to move to a different level, to move to a different platform, to be successful. Um, a lot of times we share some of our secrets, intimacies, things that are not going well with people who A may not be able to provide you any constructive feedback, or B, they just kind of talking along and listening to what you have to say and regurgitating what you do, but they're not adding any real substance to how you should resolve your problem. So again, this is not an attack on your friends. This is not an attack on Keysha. This is not an attack on Ronnie, Robbie, Big Ricky, and Mike. This is just saying, hey, surround yourself with like-minded people who have goals, like-minded people. One of the things, if you're not a counselor, then why would I be seeking relationship advice from someone who's consistently single, aka Keysha and them? You know, and Keysha knows everything. Keysha can tell you when you're not supposed to have a man, when you're supposed to have a man. She can tell you what to text. Keysha is so bad, Keysha will take the phone from you and text the response to your man. And you sit there and kind of let that happen. Or the ultimate betrayal is Keysha is your friend at the day and your dude friend at night. And you kind of enabled all that to happen because you're expounding and you're giving your heart out to talk about that relationship. So we're going to focus on just finding people who can move you to your next stage in life. Finding someone who you can be, you can confide in, but also has the ability to kind of tell you when you off and wrong. Because sometimes you need that. AKA Miss B. We talking makeup and all of the things. If Cat doesn't tell you when you look jacked up, Cat's not your friend. If you got some stuff going on in your wardrobe on that Friday night on girls' night out, and all three of you walk out the house and somebody doesn't get turned back around and say, girlfriend, that right there just doesn't work. That doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? You need a large, but you got a marge on. That's in between the medium and the large. If someone doesn't tell you that, they may not be your friend. That's AKA Keysha and them.
Absolute truth. We have to be especially when you're dating. You have to be extremely careful of the people that you surround yourself with. You have friends, the term that we throw out there so loosely. They really don't want to see you with anybody. They don't want to see you happy. They really don't want you to be your ultimate best you. They don't. We have people in our circle that we need to cut ties with. We have people in our circle that we should have cut ties with a long time ago. What you like, I've heard something, what is their purpose in your life? You have the people that are in your life, you need to know the purpose of them being in your life. We've been friends for 20 years. So what have we accomplished in those 20 years? There are things as you grow, as you mature, that you figure out that you have to ask yourself, why am I still holding on to these people? Why are these people in my life? And we talk. Girls get together and we just talk. And the next thing you know, everything that you talked about, everybody else in the world knows as well. Why? Because of the people that you have in your circle. Your circle doesn't have to include the girl that you've known since you were 3 years old. You outgrow people. Seasons change, your purpose change, your passion change, your life change, and you have to, really be conscious of the people that are close to you. Things happen in your life that you can't share with everybody. You need to have people that have your best interest at heart. And just because I've known you forever, that doesn't mean that you have my best interest at heart. That means that you're hanging around for a reason, and I need to know why you're here.
Or maybe you don't need to know why you're here. You just need to kick them to the curb. So she used the word friends. We got it in hip hop heads out there. I like music. Used to do a little bit back in the day. Takes me back to about 85 to 87. It was a little rap group. I think it was called Wu Ding. And they had a song that says, friends is a word you use every day, but most of the time we use it in the wrong way. But you can look the word up again and again, but the dictionary doesn't know the meaning of friend. Hey, there it was. Everybody's not for you. Everybody's not for your come up. Everybody's not for your elevation. Some people are with you just to ride the coattails on what you have. AKA Keysha and Nem. You're always popping bottles. Keisha's always telling you to buy the next round. We call it the peanut gallery. That's the them. Hey, outstanding. The way sometimes you have to reach out to them and say, hey, this is why I don't fool with you, boo. Dude, I'm on a whole nother level. You out here trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, and they're trying to spend the 15 cents that you got. Sometimes the people can't pour into you. Phrases that come to mind are like minds tend to hang around together. You should hang around individuals that kind of have the same idea, your Christian attainment. In other words, we're all in the same battle. We're all trying to maintain things the best way we can, according to the law. That's LAW, to the law. Now, sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes you may have to go, AKA Keysha, them to kind of let them know that your season, your time is over with, and we can't move forward. So we're going to also highlight great. So we know about the peanut gallery. We know about the peanut gallery. It's all the peanut gallery. That's the people in the back that always got something to say. That's always providing direction with no location for you to go to. They're just providing you direction. There's no destination. There's nothing going on. And what do? Sarita says some people are kicking them out because they don't know that they're a Keysha. Maybe you're right. And in this day and age of being totally transparent, sometimes you gotta let them know. Me, I'm that dude. I can let you know, and I think it's okay and it's fair. Separate what you're doing. Here we are on live, but I got rules, and my staff that work for me can't stand it. I don't friend anybody on Facebook or Instagram that works for me. Now, the minute you retire, you quit your weighted, you or whatever you need to do, hey, I'm gonna hit the like button. I'm gonna hit the friend button. But until then, we're not friends. We're not friends. I'm trying to give you guidance. We're trying to complete a job. We're trying to do things that we need to do. And that's the path that you have to take. Um, and sometimes all information is not good information. Um, Googling everything that is going on in your life, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, doesn't mean that the answer that you get from the great um, pie in the sky is going to be what that is. Hey, sometimes that's what you got to do, Dwayne. You just got to do. You got to do it. Hey, caution. Beware the dog in me. Sometimes things you got to just go out there. Now, what about the naysayers that want to say, "Well, I got great friends." Okay, maybe you do, and maybe those friends are furthering you along in your journey. Maybe they are closely aligned to where you're trying to go. And if that's the way, hey, Skylar, and if that's the way you're doing it, then that works for you. But I urge you to kind of think about some things. As I do on my day-to-day basis, I have some things that I think about. Like one, if I'm having a conversation with you, how is somebody coming back and kind of telling me about the conversation? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. So sometimes you just gotta cut them where they are. As the old folks say, cut to the quick. Or, when you're back on the block and you're just hanging with your boys, you might want to say you have to bust their head to the white meat. At some point, you just have to walk away and realize that they're not furthering who you are, and what you're trying to become. And it's very hard for people to give you advice about your relationship because their heart is not invested like yours, their time is not invested like yours, their money is not invested like yours. So it's very hard to do that.
It's easy for someone on the outside looking in to offer advice. And people will always remind you of their place in your life. I've been your friend this long. I've known you longer than you've known him, them, whoever. People will constantly remind you of who they have always known you as if you're not allowed to grow, as if you're not allowed to move on. Since I've been with him, we've had this conversation plenty of times. I'm always reminded. You act like you forgot where you came from. You this, you that, you that. I'm at an entirely different place in life than I was at the time that you were in my life. Sometimes we have to do things that seem hard, but they're the best thing for us. And if you don't know what's best for you, people will tell you anything. They'll lead you anywhere. They'll offer you anything. They'll do anything to you, not necessarily for you, but to you. And you have to know your place. You have to know what's important to you. You have to know, like I said, my thing is always, why are you here? I don't need 87 people in my life. I have 3 friends. We've been friends for over 20 years. Over 20 years. Three. That's it. 3. This is my best friend. I have 3 friends that I've been friends with for over 20 years. I have great people that I've met along the way. I have people that are like sisters to me. But when it comes to certain things, only certain people should be privy to certain things in your life. And sometimes, just in casual conversations, because you get comfortable with people. I've known Keysha since we were 3. All this code, you're just comfortable with people and you just have conversations. Like you said, I just had a conversation with you, and then 10 minutes later, I hear the same conversation from somebody else. It was only me and you talking. So, you have to be very aware of the people, the reasons, the attachments, the connect. There's a difference between an attachment and a connection. There's a big difference. You have to be aware of those kind of things, and especially when you move into the dating realm, into the relationship realm. Like I said, Keisha's been single for the last 10 years. You're interested in moving your life forward to whatever it is, that you want to move to. and Keysha has all the answers for your life. Keysha has all the answers to your questions, all the answers to the dating. What Keysha has all of that. So it's like, you have to question yourself. You have to question her. You have to question, the motives, the intentions. You just have to do that.
Well, we're getting some great reactions there. So evidently, I see a lot of you guys know about Keysha and them. And it's the them sometimes, right? Because Keysha could be okay, right? Keysha could be, on the corner of 3rd and Avon and Lennox and just kind of hanging out. But that's what Keysha does. And she may not want to do better, or she may not have the means to do better. Dwayne, see, your comment of what I'm saying is the same thing. But it may be the NIM, because see, we've been talking about Keysha, but we hadn't talked about the NIM. Those are the ones that you kind of don't know. Keysha hangs out with them. You've seen them a couple of times, but you really don't know who they are. So, when you're not with Keysha is with who? Them. And when she's with them, we wonder, what is Keysha saying? What is Keysha talking about? Hey, girls night out on Friday, you partied great the first Friday. But when you went for the second Friday, it didn't feel the same. It didn't feel the same. Somebody's looking at you a little funny. Hey, it is what it is. I'm a full disclosure dude because there's no shame. Me and Miss B talk about all the time about this levels to Crown Royal. It's levels. That's my dream. I am a proud member of the Crown Society. Personalized levels and everything. We got a Keysha in the building.
And the thing with that is, everybody has a best friend, but you might be she might be your best friend, but she has a best friend also. And like I said, that's that NIM that knows all your business. She's their best friend when she's with them, and she's your best friend when she's with you. I mean, you have to be really careful of the relationships that you have with people as you grow, as you mature, as you move into different levels of your life. Because, like you said, if we go out this Friday, we all good. Next Friday, I might not go. And then okay, it's like Keysha and them, but you have to be so careful. Not that you are above anybody. Not that I hear it all the time. You forget where you come from. You think you're more than this, you're that. You hear all this stuff from people that you've known forever. That forever, but life moves. If you're not moving, then I can't have you here. You've been here since we were 3, and we're still in the same position. We've only grown, we've only aged. We haven't grown, we've only aged. So you really have to be mindful of the people that that you let into your space.
And sometimes people creep into your space and you don't really realize they're there until they're there. Be careful about your circle. Be careful about your circle. People say circle, and that's okay. I'm a square kind of guy. I like squares. I don't like circles. I like squares. Circles, I got to kind of look all the way around and watch what everybody's doing. When it's a square, I can stand in the corner of the square and I can see everybody. I'm gonna let that marinate because somebody missed that. Now, a square, there's 4 parts to a square. Somebody will tell you what a right angle is. That's the 4th part of a circle. That's what it is. See, that's why it's hard for me to form relationships with people because of this reason. You have to. So Ms. French, you gotta guard yourself. That's your emotions. That's your time. That's your physical responsibility and also your physical liability as well, right? We were created to kind of want people. We were kind of created to want to be around people. But there's also times when I don't want to be around anybody. Now I'm just as honest as I can be. I don't have to have a friend in the world. I got my family. I got my friend over here. This one right here, the little yellow one right here. And I'm okay with that. I got my family. And I'm going to be, yes, you can be guarded. You have to be guarded. You have to be guarded. You can't tell me all of your secrets. You can't tell me all of your desires, needs, and wants. I think in the previous live, someone talked about, or was there a question that I heard about how can a man be everything that he wants, that you want him to be, but he can't keep it up forever. And my first response was, that's because you tell us everything you want. If you lay it all out in the outline and you say, I want A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I can walk in a straight line because you did it. Now, what the problem is, can you consistently do it? Can you continue to do it? Can you get past 3 months? Can you get past 6 months? Because sometimes people can't do that. Sometimes you share too much information. Sometimes you share too much information. Everybody doesn't need to know everything until they get to that point. Until you got to just walk in the room one day and put it all on the table and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. What do you want to do about it? You know, the dim is something that's really serious. Dwayne says he guards itself, myself, and I don't play. I'm the person well over there. They used to have they used to have to trick me to come out, or they had to pick me up so I wouldn't have a car. Dwayne, at some point, bruh, it works for you because that realize that probably kept you out of so much mess, and that probably kept you out of so many incidents at the club. That kept you out of so many incidents at the bar because maybe that wasn't your vibe, and that the people that were trying to pick you up and do the things with you may really not have been for you. Um, and sometimes that's just the way it is. Now, do you have some ride or die Keishas out there and some Nems? Yes, yes. I can call some of my high school guys right now, and we all good. And it's okay to go back and kick it. When I go home, it's a couple of guys I want to go see. And I know that I should not be going to see these guys because the profession that I have and the profession that they have doesn't really align. But those are my boys. And I do it anyway. And we go hang out an hour or two. I leave, babe, I'm gonna run over here to my boy house and I give her that look. I already know where I'm going. It's good to go back and reminisce and have a beer and talk about how you used to pile up in the car 6 or 7 deep to go to the club. That's fun. It's not that you forgot where you came from. It's, do I want to continue doing what I did from the place that I came from? Right? Nobody really wants to do that. Everybody wants to progress. My dad, you got to keep moving. And if you can't keep moving and you become stagnant, then you become like pond water and you just sitting there. And now you're gonna grow algae and you're not gonna move. Things are not gonna be better. And then your personal life kind of starts to sink. So don't get caught up, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get caught up with Keysha and them or Robert and Ricky and Ronnie and Mike and all of them that you want to talk to on the corner. And then sometimes you just have to really assess the situation and look at the people around. If you're the only one trying to have a relationship, but everybody's good with having 2 or 3 different, they got a boyfriend, a boo thing, and a side piece. Oh, girl, that's just so and so, so and so. I just call him when I need this. And the same for men, been there, done that. There could be a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday girl, and there could be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday girl, and Sunday I did what I wanted to do. Life is life. You live it. But you can't always do that, and you can't continue to live in that fashion and think that your life is going to prosper, much less that you're going to be able to find a gentleman caller or a lady friend and create that kind of relationship.
In the Keysha and them whole scenario, it's just very important that you know who you are, you know what you want, you know your purpose. And in that, you have to be aware of the people that are around you. There's everybody, nobody's meant to be alone. You can have your associates, acquaintances, hangouts, whatever. Everybody, if you have a friend, you've heard it, count yourself lucky. If you have more than one, you are beyond blessed. So, you just have to know, and you have to cultivate relationships with people, that are going to be a part of your life. People that are on the same page, people that have the same ideas, that goals, that are going where you want to go. It's okay to be with people who are where you want to go. That's more important than being with people that came from where you came from. Like I said, I want a couple that's been married for 20 years, that's been married for 40 years. Those are my people. That's the pace that I'm on. That's the road that I want to travel. So I need those kind of people in my life. Like I said, Keysha can be my ride or die. She may as well be. But there comes a point in time where I need to know, where is Keysha on my, in my journey? Where is her nem and them holding her back? So, if they're holding you back, then you can't go forward with me because you're worried about them. Sometimes we get in situations where we do things to please the people that we're around. We do things that's not necessarily us, just because of the people that we're around. So you have to be aware of that kind of thing. Keysha is out there doing whatever with whoever she's with, and that's her right. That's her life. That's how she lives it. But I need to know, if I'm in a situation, that I can count on you. I need you to know that you can count on me. We need to have this, we need to have this, what we have, for you to be a part of my life.
And so how many of you out there in TV land actually have had the scenario where you've talked with a Keysha and you had a nem, and sometimes things didn't work. I mean, when I opened up, I saw a lot of stuff flashing. Preach, I know what that is. I know what that looks like. So my question also is, when you realize that, have you learned and matured enough not to go back and put yourself in that situation again? Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you just switch to Keysha for a Lakeisha or a Rakisha. That's why we use Keysha. So you got Keysha, Lakeisha, Rakisha,
Right.
Rekeisha,
Keysha spelled 8 different ways.
and Keysha spelled 8 different ways. So pretty soon Keysha could be 36 different people. My point is, just be solid and be confident in who you are and be confident in what you're trying to build. We talked about the vulnerability. You so vulnerable. We talked about that word vulnerability, or can you let your guard down? Now, when we say let your guard down, no one ever said let it all the way down, right? Nobody ever said that. That works two ways. You could be so guarded until you start to present a kind of standoffish attitude, and people that may be seriously into you start to say, you know what, I don't know. This is too much of that. There's too much of that Erica Badu going on. There's too much bag lady going on in this thing. I don't know that if I want to do that. So yes, you have to open up and at least give people a glimpse of who you proclaim that you are and who you feel like you are to be. And then you can start that dialogue. Remember, all of these sessions and all of these episodes are really about just relationships and dating and marriage and conversations and what is the best for you. I was watching Miss B, and what was the one I was watching? I was killing myself laughing about the guy in the drones.
Oh, father-daughter.
Father-daughter talk. I did the father-daughter talk, and I was like, I thought I wanted to go where he was and jump in on the camera and jump in, because I got a 16-year-old daughter, and I do believe that part of Keysha and nem, the good Keysha and nem, is to kind of help mold the people that you're around. If you got bad Keysha, there's nothing that you can take from Keysha. There's nothing that you can take from Keysha. You're trying to create an atmosphere that's welcoming for someone to come into your space. You're trying to cultivate something that comes in and says, you know what, let me pick up the phone and call somebody, Sarita again. Sarita kind of let me in just a little bit. Let me call Sarita and and see what she's really talking about. You never want to get to the point where you're so standoffish that people be like, man, I don't know if I want to go through all this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time to be trying to take all the rappings off the box. Some of the rappers should come off the box. You should take some off. So you have to be open and understand that this is a two-way street.
It is. French, yes, you can be too guarded. Like I said, that thing I said, a couple of walls keep people in and they keep people out. Of course, when you've been through, stuff in the past, nobody wants to continuously go through the same stuff over and over. So, you have to be guarded. You have to keep, a little wall, just, little wall. But, but that wall, eventually, like you said, you want to meet somebody that you eventually get comfortable with, enough with to let them in, give them a little insight into the real you. When you first meet somebody, you want to leave the best impression possible. We put our best foot forward. But like you said, those things that are going to, continue. Is this the person that you really are? The person that I'm going to see 365 days, if that's where it goes or whatever. You have to guard your feelings. You have to be genuine with yourself. That whatever's in you comes out of you. So, whatever's down in there, you can only hide it for so long. So, you have to be genuine with yourself. If you're not, then those things show up. They show up in your friendships, not only in the dating realm. They show, we have people that are friends that are bad friends, so it's just who they are. So it's like, how do you accept those people in your life, and how do you put yourself in someone else's life if you're not genuine, if you're not who you proclaim to be or what you want to attract? Everybody knows whatever you put out there is coming back to you.
Right. So we've talked about Keysha them. We've talked about all of these things. And again, people continue to share your thoughts, continue to ask us questions. That's what this forum is about. I want it to be open. So as we talked about Keysha, we kind of went through Keysha's part. There's also a part where when you find yourself by yourself, you got to figure out who are you, where are you trying to go, and whither are you traveling? What is your journey? And then you need to align yourself with people who kind of want to do the same things that you do. And that's where you start to get that growth. That's where you start to get that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We're talking now, a lot of people have said, hey, these are things that my grandmama used to say. These are things that my auntie taught. These are things that my uncle used to say. Because they had some season. They had a little marinade. In other words, they were a little older than us, so they had a little marinade going. That chicken didn't jump right into grease. They had to put some seasoning on it and rub it and massage it in. So they had a little time. And love takes that. Life takes that. Sometimes it doesn't come easy, and it doesn't come the first time. It doesn't come the second time. Hey, people, you break up to make up. We know people who've been together, disappeared, and 20 years later, 13 years later, they're back together again. We was like, wow. Well, at that point, maybe someone matured, or maybe someone realized that I was hanging out too much with Keysha and them, and I should have been figuring out this is who I should have been holding on to, or this is who I should have been keeping. So again, we want to keep pushing that. You must also sit back and look, because any man or woman can pretend to be what you want in a relationship, be it friend or companion.
Absolutely.
Hey, don't know who said it, but you're right. So when we talked about that a little bit, there was a portion in here when I said, hey, you can't always lay the roadmap out for a man to follow. If you got an outline, look here, this is what I want. I want so-and-so, 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 so. Okay. Some men are smart enough just to listen to what you say. And we're going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and in that order. And then you wonder why everything was so good, but then all of a sudden, it came to a halt. Or you realize he wasn't the man that you thought he was. Well, that's just because he completed the 3 or 4 tasks that you told him that he needed to do to get where he needed to get you where he needed to get you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Back to that CD, the bedroom boom CD. Trying to get you to where they're trying to get you. Don't always lay out your roadmap. Ladies, don't always when you find somebody and you spent more than 2 minutes with them, don't start telling them everything. How else do you have a conversation if I'm giving you all of me and you don't have anything to say? If I walked in right now and I met a young lady, I'm like, hey, I need this, and as long as you can buy everything purple and keep Crown Royal flowing, we good. Hey, for the most time, it's what it is. Hey, that bedroom disc, that bedroom boom CD is still on the top sellers today. The bedroom boom was a tape. It was the Memorex, the clear one with the neon yellow on it. Then it graduated and it started making CDs. And then we made the CDs, and then it didn't help that Avant came out with the official bedroom boom. And it's bedroom boom's about 30 years old right now. Those are things that are timeless. Those are pieces of your life that you can hold on to, that you can remember. But also that bedroom boom CD is relevant because it takes you back and it shows where your growth is. Because all of those songs take you back to something that you went through, you were going through, somebody that you love, somebody that you were crying about, and you did that. I got a comment. I'm not saying anymore, but my ex-husband did that, and he swore I was his wife. God showed him in a dream. I didn't give him everything in my conversation. Okay. Hey, take it from me. We kind of smart men, and we can figure some things out without you telling us. There is a risk in all of this. There's a risk in anything that you do. There's a risk in life. There's a risk in relationships. There's a risk cranking up your car going to work. Again, what we want to do is merely put those things out there and say, hey, this is kind of our experiences. This is kind of what we believe. This is kind of how we believe. I mean, she's not going to tell it, but I'll tell it. She was so guarded about dating me till her Keysha and them thought she was crazy. And they thought that this big old dude was a fictitious person that she made up, and I was not real. Now, I want you that to sink in. So you can be so guarded until some people think that you look cray-cray. Because she was cray-cray. When I showed up, people were like, oh, he is real. Oh, yeah, he's real. So there's a give and take piece there. You got to do what we got to do. We got to live. You got to learn. You got to love. And probably in that order, live, learn, and love. Because that's what this is. Is how do you create a solid relationship? How do you build on it? What are the steps that we take? So we talked about blended families. We've talked about just how we met. Now we're talking about Keysha them, which is that third party syndrome. And we'll start to graduate this thing and move this thing into some little deeper topics about one-on-one kind of stuff when you're in the relationship and what you do. And, some of those topics might have a little Tabasco on, a little spice on it. But those are things that we want to do. We want this forum to grow. We want people to give out. You're absolutely right. Just be careful about how much you're giving. My dad was an English teacher. And if you grew up with English teachers or anybody that taught, you just know. And my dad used to say all the time, son, if there's an A, there's a B. If there's a C, there's a D. And he was talking about creating papers, and when you do your papers, you're making your outline. You couldn't have an A without a B. You couldn't have a C without a D. Sometimes you just don't go that far. Sometimes maybe you just do A and B. And then you're going to have to see if that person makes it to D. That's just life. And there's going to be some disappointments. Don't let us, look great on this side of the camera and don't, realize, and we'll say it all the time, there's still some time I have to look at her a little sideways, just a little, um, because we do see things different. She's more, hey, we all the way from Ohio. Hey, Eric. One of the things that we do is I'm a talker. Let's talk. Let's get it out. Don't be sitting over here huffing and puffing, twitching in your chair, stomping and all that kind of stuff. If you got something on your mind, go ahead and say it. This one, on the other hand, will sit and stew in it for 27, 30, 40, 52 hours in a day and won't say a thing. Which, of course, we're totally opposite. So that just drives me crazy. Because I'm like, really, you took 16 hours out of my life that we could have resolved this issue in 6 minutes. So sometimes you have to learn how each other communicate, or lack thereof at times, and realize that sometimes you have to we have to cut the TV off, cut the lights off, cut the music off. I gently take her phone and put it somewhere else. No, I don't. I snatch it and say, hey, let's have this conversation. Because that's what real talk is. This is just not real talk on YouTube, on the internet on Wednesday at 7:30. We practice this every day. I practice this at work. If there's any of my employees who've kind of figured out that this is what I do, they can tell you. I am this way every day. I think life is to be lived. I think we should love it. We should learn it. We should cherish it. But you also should not be a fool.
Which absolutely.
Okay, Eric, I'm gonna try that. I don't. Okay, all right. I'm gonna try what y'all play. Go fish or something. Erica said maybe somebody don't want to talk, so they play card games and then they talk.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. We're gonna jot that down. We'll try that. Although she can't play in the cards, but I guess we could play solitaire.
Thank you.
All right. See, we're sharing. We're sharing.
But that's like you said. That was a good one. I like that. That is a fact. And you know what? Even after, like I said, after we've known each other, like I said in the beginning, we've known each other for 25 years. And we've the evolution of us that has led us to here. At times things are still difficult. It's still because we're total opposites and we are so much alike in the same. In the same, we are total opposites and so much alike. But it's real. It's our life. It's what we do on a day-to-day basis. I am stubborn as all get out. No lie, stubborn as all get out. But it's one of those things that you continually learn. Once you become invested, you become, committed, you become all of those words that mean so much when you're actually in a situation. You put your big girl panties on, you put your underwear on, and you just kind of dig in and you have to go for it. And you have to do what's best for you. But and like I said, in our friendship, friend situation, we have really cool people that we know. We've met some great people because we're both here alone. Our family is 12 hours away from where we live. We've met some great people. We've had some great people that have, given us great advice, great times, great, all those kind of things. But at the end of the day, I am the most grateful that he is my best friend. And like I said, my girlfriends, I have 3 that I've been friends with for over 20 years. He knows them, they know him. People have weird situations when it comes to, your significant other and your girlfriends or your, his guy friends or whatever. My girlfriends know him and he knows them. It's just, you have to, like I keep saying, you just have to create the situations that you want for your life. You have to create the avenues that you want to travel, and like I said, I wouldn't want to do life with anybody other than him. So we have to, when the hard times come, it's like, okay, I don't want nobody else. You don't want nobody. Well, you're not going nowhere. So, what do we do? And like I said, when we're hanging out with people or whatever, I'm okay with hanging out with people and I'm okay with not hanging out with anybody. Either way, I'm okay. This is my best friend. So it's good when you know that you have people in your corner, people who want to see you do well. We have so many people, that are like, oh my God, you guys are, whatever they consider us. But it's just that we want to do well. And, it's the life that we want to live. It's the life that we continue to create for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that we meet along the way, which we've met some amazing people, on our journey so far. And it's just like, you want to hold on to those. You want to create those meaningful relationships. I some Keysha and nems, they good to hang out with, laugh, have a good time, and all of that kind of stuff. But I need people who, that I can be like, okay, in 15 years, we rode this road for 15 years and we moved forward down this road for 15 years. We're not still at the same place, that we were when I met you, all that time ago.
I think there was a comment that said speaking into existence. I think when we talk about from the male perspective, coming from me, if you're not man enough to take charge and figure out what you want and say what you want, then you kind of get what you get. I'm not doing it. I'm going to say what I need to say, whether people are like it or not. I'm going to attempt to be politically correct. And if you don't get that, when I'm politically correct, there's a couple of other ways that I will express that to you. I do believe, though, that it goes back to how you take charge of your life. It's how you're confident in who you are, how you're confident in what you are and who you are. I don't use the term a lot, but to steal it, because it's usually ladies that say this, but they know their worth. When you know who you are and you know what you want out of life, you want somebody that's going to take that road with you, right? At whenever I get to 55, I'm not working for another person ever. I've said it. I've made preparations for that to happen. I'm making preparations for that to happen. I had to stop buying shoes by the 3 or 4 pair. Now I can only buy about 2. But it's really about me not wanting to work past 55 because there's some things that I want to do. And hopefully, she's still around and doing with me. But you speak it to an existence, you develop a plan, and you find someone that wants to travel that with you. Always speak your truth. And you don't have to apologize for it either. You don't have to apologize for who you are. I, for all intents and purposes, I'm the only male at the job that I work at. So I never have a meeting by myself. It's always 2 or 3 people there. But you continue to stick to who I believe that I am. And it's not really a belief, it's who I know that I am. And I'm a straight shooter. There's no reason, I don't want to plant no daisies, petunias, and roses. I don't have time for all that, because I'm trying to get somewhere. Now, sometimes I may try to get there too fast, and she has to reel me back, but I'm trying to get there. You're in charge. You are the key to your life. Oops. You are the key. It's not the other person. Now, of course, your belief in Jesus, God, Christ, Yahweh, Reed, Ra, whoever should be a key as well. But you're the key. So if you're not the first key, you're definitely the second key. You're the key. You got to unlock yourself. You got to figure out who you are. Who are you and what are you going to stand for? And I say it all the time, especially with men. If a man can't stand on his own 10 toes and know which way he's going, then there's a problem. Because most of us was born to lead, and you got to know where you're going to get to that point. If you don't, then there's a problem. There's a problem, and people's opinions shouldn't affect you as much as sometimes we let them affect us. Um, I do understand that. Sometimes it's hard to hear someone say something about you, even when you know it's not true. But does that stop you from getting your daily feel? Does that stop you from filling your cup? Um, I want to fill my cup, so if the Lord decides He wants to do it too, then my cup will what? Runneth over. I'm going to try to fill my cup every day, and because that's what we do. We're driven to be the best. I learned something about myself and kind of didn't know what it was, and Trina had to kind of tell me. I watched that MJ docuseries, and everything for me is a competition, and she'll tell me. Everything is a competition. Everything. It's a competition. That's just my gene. That's where I came from. It was fostered through basketball, fostered through the military, when I was playing semi-pro. It's just everything. So when I'm listening to Michael Jordan, he was unapologetic for being that way. You know, one of the biggest things he said was, "Hey, I played a certain way at a certain level, and if you couldn't play that way, you couldn't do what you needed to do, then that's on you. But I'm not going to apologize for who I was and how I played the game." That's a big deal. That means that you have to let this thing go. Erica, thank you. Well, thank you for being on the front line. It never stops. You're right. Well, you're on the front line, so I don't even know that there's opinions of you. It's just people saying stuff. So understand that too. That sometimes it's not even about you. People just have to find something to say. So here's my empowerment tip from the day, Erica. Most of the people that got something to say have no clue who you are. And most of them have no clue what they're talking about. But because they're in the heat of the moment, because they want what they want, because they don't want to understand the processes that need to take place, they lashing out. You just happen to be one of the ones that are paid to take all the verbal abuse. I am the director of the homeless shelter. We never closed. We didn't miss a day. We actually doubled down on what we did. So I get it. People want what they want, what they wanted, especially in times of a crisis. So shout out to all of the first line frontliners, the nurses, the doctors. And I want to go back and I also want to talk about those that are in civil service and social services fields, because their workload increased. We had to learn how to do some things via Skype and WebEx that most people would have never thought that we were doing. So these are words of encouragement. Sometimes, things happen. Now, my name is definitely not Keysha, but if you don't have a Keysha that can tell you and talk to you about stuff like this, then you maybe you need to change, and we need to find a new person. But it's not Keysha, it's not Becky, and it's definitely not Karen. We don't want those. We don't want those three. We want to be and blessings back to you, Eric. We don't want anything to do anything. We don't want to say anything that discourages you. This is always about encouragement. This is never about what am I doing wrong.
It's never about beating you down. It's about having an open conversation. It's hard to see the things see the things in us that sometimes we are our own hindrance. You just have to say it. I need to get out of my way. I need to get out of my head. Sometimes I just need to get out of my feelings. I need to get out, and I need to be open. Sometimes we need that, and if just having a conversation with somebody, with us can spark, something like, okay, well, maybe I need to change this, or maybe I need to work on this. Not necessarily changing yourself for somebody else. Change yourself for you. If you're not where you want to be, we have write it out, talk it out, type it out. What sometimes we have to do those things when we're alone. The hardest person to be alone with sometimes is yourself. And why is that? Why can't you be alone with yourself? Why do you feel that you need somebody? We have to take that time, and in our journey, it's all about growth. we had the conversation. Was it last night? Okay, we got this 100 scale. It's like, where am I? Am I at 97.5? Okay, well that means I got room to grow. You always have room to grow, and that's with yourself, that's with your friends, that's with your family. Families are tough. It's tough because they're family. We're supposed to accept whatever. We're supposed to be okay with whatever. You have the right to speak how you feel, and we want to talk to you guys. We want to hear from you guys about your experiences, and we can tell you about ours and how we handle it. If we've been through that, what our view is on it, and that's kind of like it's all about growth. And that's why we want to share our story, from the beginning to where we are, to our plans, to all that kind of stuff, just to inspire somebody, to encourage somebody. Perfect? Heck no. But we work on it. And it's always about growing. It's always about progressing. You just said to progress is what, babe?
Progress must progress.
And that's how we feel about
it. That's the same word. One is in the future and one is in the present. You have to keep moving, people, in your relationships. And this always goes back to the relationship, the very first relationship, of course, we all think should be with God or the supreme architect of the universe or the higher power that you believe in. Second, though, relationship should be with yourself. If you can't have a relationship with your damn self, there's a problem. There's a problem. You gotta know. You have to be able to do this thing. You gotta be able to know who you are. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing wrong with going to the bar by yourself to take yourself to get a drink. There's nothing wrong with going to get a T-bone or the Ribeye Brothers because that's what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to make sure that you know who you are. RuPaul, what does she say? How the hell you gonna love somebody if you don't love yourself? There it is.
And in that, if you don't, Keysha and them can make you be somebody that you don't even know. Especially if you don't know who you are. People can pour stuff into you, and you will become somebody that you don't even know. Somebody that you don't even know who you are. You've allowed people to tell you who you are, people to tell you what you like, people to, you just go along with. You become a go along with. You don't stand on your own. You don't represent, the trueness of yourself. You're a go along. Okay, well, if you're just a go along, how are you expecting for somebody to come into your life and be somebody that you potentially want to spend the rest of your life with? You don't even know who you are. You don't know who you are. You've given that power to somebody else. I know, speaking from experience, you've given that power to somebody else for them to tell you who you are. Now, when somebody sits down to want to get to know you, who are they getting to know? You don't even know who you are. So who are they getting to know?
I think that's great. One of the things that we continue to do is we want that last 5 minutes of this time to be that inspiration, to be that drive to get you to the next Wednesday, to be that drive to tell you to go to work Thursday and say, hey, you might want to tune in with me next Wednesday. This is just all about a forum. Twitter fingers, Facebook fingers, whatever it is. Hey, we want to hear what you have to say. No question is too big. No question is too small. These are things that we want to do. We invite you to bring your questions. We invite you. It is never their power to give, Dwayne. They cannot give you your power. Who goes to the movie buys it themselves? I told the person that I love my own company. It shocked them, and I didn't care. Well, you know why? Because they're sitting at home trying to figure out why they got to go to the movies on their own. At least you had the power, as Dwayne say, to take yourself to the movies. They were still sitting at home trying to figure out why they couldn't find anybody to take them to the movies. Take yourself. Date yourself. Find out who you are. Love yourself. It's been real, guys. We've done our hour. I don't want to go over. We want to keep this thing going. Let it grow. Tell your friends. Like it. Click it. Share it. We want to continue this. We want to make this bigger than what it is. Um, Next week we'll shoot out a topic a little earlier than the day before, um, to kind of give people time to jot down questions or jot down ideas about, what are we going to talk about. I love the engagement. Keep the comments coming. Um, Keep everything going. Again, I'm going to close with that RuPaul statement again. How the hell you going to love somebody when you don't love yourself? Once again, this is Real Talk with J and K, aka Cat and the Dog. We appreciate you. We love you, and we'll see you on the next time, Wednesday, 7:30. Back to you, Miss B.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.